You are now tuned in to Namaste Grinding by Posey the Plug.
Yeah.
I'ma stay grinding. I'ma stay grinding. Stay true to yourself, this shit all about timing. Love on yourself, you as bright as a diamond. I'ma stay grinding. I'ma stay grinding. Put in that work like you turning assignments. Gotta stay focused to stay in alignment. I'ma stay grinding. I'ma stay grinding.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Namaste Grinding podcast. And as you know, we are committed to just reaching out and getting those stories of people who are staying committed to their grind, finding peace in the grind and balance in the hustle. And I am very excited. I am ecstatic to have a queen in the building, somebody who wears many hats, but is very focused and very intentional about her movements. Somebody who I've seen move and shake in community. Somebody who I've seen definitely take their own life and their own personal health into their own hands, which is definitely commendable and admirable. And I'm following you. I be watching you with your juices. I be taking notes. But I am really grateful and blessed to have Ms. Aihomon Ebojie here in the studio, the Namaste Grinding studio today. So I just want to welcome you and thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. And just taking your time because, my girl, you are busy wearing many hats, and we connected. And I always say this, that I'm always glad to be on here with people and get to know you guys on a deeper level, get to know folks on a different level. And it's so different when you're in rooms with people to get to know them on an intimate level. So yes, please feel free, before I take the whole intro, please feel free to introduce yourself, and please feel free to let the people know exactly what you do professionally as well.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Aihomon Ebojie, and I am a social worker, a mentor, the secretary for the Minneapolis NAACP, and an advocate for the community.
Okay, I love that. Was smooth. Okay. I said, come and make yourself at home. She was like, oh, and I stay ready, so I don't got to get ready.
That part.
Yes, indeed. So I'm so glad that we connected because, like I said, I see you moving and shaking. I see so much that you do in the community. And it's almost like, and just sitting here, the few minutes that we've had, like, to actually connect in a quiet setting, I just learned so much just about I don't know how you do it all and how you're not splitting yourself up into different people besides already having a twin. I don't know how you're not just in different areas, but I loved your story when we got to talking about it. And we were just able to connect on just, you're a phenomenal woman now, but I really wanted to dig into like, how was she built? What built her? What was that defining moment in your life? Like, how did you even get to this point of being so booked and busy? And so, yeah.
So my journey has been, I would say, crazy, but I found some peace in separating myself from individuals. For example, a lot of people that went to school with me know that I was a fighter. I used to fight amongst playing sports and being in the books. So going to school, I was suspended year after year. I was expelled my junior year in high school. And in that time, I had to go to a different high school. And that was the first time I experienced depression. First time I realized nobody's calling me to see what's going on. Nobody's checking on me. I had to go to a new school, make new friends. And thank God, with my education and just where I was and how I did my homework, after about, I think, a trimester, my previous school said that I can come back after talking with my principal, saying that he'll give me another chance. I never seen that with other people, but I knew that when I was disciplined for fighting, when I got expelled, he said there was a chance for me to come back. And I'm just so happy that I got the opportunity because I truly do not know if I would be here now. When I was going to the other school at that time, I was, I would say, flunking out of class. They had open lunch. Our school never had open lunch. They had open lunch. We're not coming back after open lunch.
So, wait. So, girl, we got to take it a little bit back. Girl, I'm taking notes already. I'm like, okay. And that's a new thing, y'all. Y'all know, I don't know if it might be edited out and it might not. But if it's not edited out, I am taking notes. because I'm learning. Everybody who sits here, I learn from. So I just wanted to take it back. So like so just so I got this right, like when you were at the other school, you just experienced what it was like to be separated.
Correct.
From
I
your
wasn't
friends
in the in crowd
anymore. Like it had been stripped.
Anymore.
Like your
my identity.
Yeah. Okay.
I was on the cheerleading team. I was on the cheerleading team. I was a junior, about to be a senior, and it was literally the first week of school.
Freshman year. What made you fight? That's what I want to know, girl. Yeah. What made you fight?
So I guess now that I look back on my past, all my fights didn't have nothing to do with me. I would say that I felt like I had to protect people and I had to defend them.
Oh, you was co-signing.
Yes. Versus like I said, none of the fights were my fights. These are just if it was my friends or my sister, literally. And it was just a situation where a girl got into it with my sister and they was like, you got to get ready. Your sister's about to fight. And the reason we got expelled, it was because it was like 2-on-1 instead of just, a one-on-one fight. And it's something I'm definitely not proud of.
Right. But it could be something that you're not proud of, but as you were talking, I am thinking, I don't think that it's changed for you. And not saying you haven't changed, but I'm saying the fact that how much you wanted to protect and fight for someone else. And I just think it's such a beautiful thing. Like you are now protecting and fighting for youth and your actions for our community and your volunteerism. You're fighting for Black women in this pageant going forward for the Miss Juneteenth pageant. Like you're still fighting. And I just think that it is such a beautiful thing. Like as you're talking, I'm like, oh, like it's in you. It's in you. A fighter is in you. But I think it's just like, as you're telling me, like how much it's changed from being in high school to like what you fight for and the purposes and like being intentional about what you're fighting for is like, I didn't even know that the evolution was that deep.
And I'm happy you said that because my mom always said that I'm a nurturing spirit. And I just always feel like I have to help people, specifically helping people mentally and civilly with human rights and with the mental health disparities that are affecting African American communities.
Right. I think, so I always look at things kind of in a spiritual nature. So, and those to me go hand in hand because my spirit has to be right for me to even be able to produce an environment that's going to be conducive to myself and or the people around me and the people coming up after me, right? So like, I just commend you so much as a Black woman who's received services for a very long time just on mental health, for stepping into that field and for being one of the people, for having that fight in you, to want to advocate for someone like that, to just be selfless. You're still selfless, still a fighter. And it's just crazy. At one point, it got you in trouble. I know that, I don't want to say in trouble. It taught you a major lesson.
Definitely taught me a major lesson.
It sounded like it was pivotal. So you go to the new school and you're at the new school and take me back. So now you're at the new school. You've been stripped. It was lonely. And you're realizing like all your friends are not.
People I thought were my friends. Were not calling me. I wasn't popular anymore. I wasn't in the in crowd, and just going back up to the school because my friends went to the school and talking to the principal, went back, made a pivotal change, graduated on time with honors, graduated from college in a 4-year period, and I just recently graduated with my master's in social work.
Okay. Yes, girl, get it. But can I just ask you, how long were you kind of on your own in a sense? Like at the other school, when you were realizing the stuff about loneliness and you were realizing like these people that I thought were for me might not be where I'm supposed to be. And then what did that time look like in that short amount of time? How long was it and what was involved?
I would say that it was a trimester or two. At the time, Cooper High School, they had semesters and Park Center had trimesters. So it was like about a trimester or two, which would be like 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months. And then, one thing I hate about high school too is that when you make one wrong decision, they're so quick to take all the positive things away from you. For example, It's one thing to get suspended, and in my case, I was expelled. But it's one thing to get suspended, right? And a lot of kids get suspended all the time for stupid things. But then the next thing, now you're gonna take a positive reinforcement away from me, which is I'm in sports. I'm out of the streets in sports with the school. My parents know where I'm at. Versus now I got suspended and I'm coming back to school. You get kicked off your sports team, and then now you still get to go to school and figure out what you're gonna do in the afternoon. And in my case, I'm thinking, hanging out with the wrong crowd after school.
Idle time.
And what I'm highlighting is one decision can definitely change the rest of your life, but I hate people, or especially young people, because their brains aren't developed until 25. I hate that one decision. What am I trying to say? I hate you keep getting consequences for one decision that you made, even after you have changed.
Mm-hmm. I know that we're talking a lot about youth, but it's so parallel to where we are as adults today. Like, there's a lot of similarities. How many times I can think for myself as you're talking, and I'm thinking, how many times was I in a place where I was not supposed to fit there? I felt like I didn't fit right. Or how many times have I really suffered from co-signing for someone, for fighting someone else's battle? How many other times did I have to take a moment, had to take a few months just to withdraw from the crowd and just focus on myself, whether that's something that I did or if God sees fit for that to happen to me, has taken me out of a situation, and placed me somewhere else, and then we have to utilize that isolation and then come back and kind of reintroduce myself to somewhere that I was, to go on and to finish and do better and do great and in my own way graduate in different levels in my life. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just like, this has been a road, this has been a journey, just because
it's been so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I just keep God close, praying. My parents, they have raised us up in the church, and I'm just thinking, through hard times, if it was not for prayer, I don't know where I would be.
Mm-hmm. That's your go-to when you grinding?
That's my go-to.
When you feel like you want to wave that white flag and you're like, no, keep going,
yes.
Keep showing up. I love that. God is definitely a refuge for me too. I notice quite a few guests who come on the show, when we talk about their namaste grinding moments, they're like, to be honest, we're gonna give it to God.
That part.
What is it? So how did you get, so with all of the I want to say, with all the titles that you have now, with all the crowns that you wear, with all the hats that you're wearing, how do you get through and kind of prioritize yourself through all of that? I know a little while ago we was like, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. But just, I see that you're busy, you're out here, you do a lot. So when it's time for you to just calm down and wind down, and how do you keep your mental strong? Yeah, I mean, I know that you have the tools in your toolbox because this is your profession. But I'm asking for a little bit of transparency. How do you balance it all?
So, becoming a mentor with Project Diva a couple of years ago, Miss Nita Kellogg.
Shout out Nita.
I love Nita. She's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
She taught us about having a power hour, which is having that time for yourself in the morning. And depending on if your schedule is busy, you have to fit it in if it's important to you. So my power hour in the morning, before I do anything, waking up in the morning, no technology, praying, meditating, listening to positive music, and having my phone on Do Not Disturb. Like I said, this is my time. And then after I'm done with that, getting myself ready, I like to revise my schedule for the day, and it just really has kept me balanced. I've even kept it in my mind to do it at night as well, to be able to calmly be able to go to sleep and shut my brain off. I know a lot of people sleep, but are you able to shut your brain off? There's various activities for that, as in reading, listening to meditative music, listening to positive affirmations, and my go-to is listening to rain. I love listening to rain. I feel like it's so calming and meditative.
Love a good rain sound. Love a good rain sound.
It's annoying, and I'm like, how? I love the rain. I love the rain.
I know you see my pen just going over here. I know that what stuck out to me was just the importance of developing and committing and building the habit to that morning and night routine to give yourself time.
Which has helped me be prepared for the next day. Before the power hour, I think my plate was way too full. Like, yes, my plate is full right now. But my plate was way too full when I was just stretching myself way too thin. And then the power hour will help me focus. She does another activity called the blueprint, which we focus on what are your goals, and we pick the two big ones, and then we focus on different values you align with and how you're going to get to the goal. So now you have a map of what you're supposed to do and focus on that, and then the next year you do another blueprint. So it's similar to a vision board.
Okay, I love it. I worked with Anita for a little while too, and in full transparency, I did not know how to handle my schedule with being a YP. I worked a full-time job. A YP is a young professional, for those who don't know. I didn't know how to handle being a young professional because that takes a lot of networking, skill building. Like, you're really invested in yourself. Being a young professional out here in Minneapolis, like, there's so many workshops and there's so many different areas where you can have an opportunity to learn and grow. And it's like you just want to grab what you can grab. And then so I also had an opportunity to work with Project Diva. And so with that, like, you get mentored to mentor.
That part.
And so, but my schedule was too full. I did not know how to balance that. And it took a long time. It took, a life-changing event to have me slow down and really be like, hey, how are you going to prioritize this? And, in my situation, I feel like God took it and just put it right there in front of my face and was like, hey, you're about to learn this self-care thing sooner rather than later. So you can put everything else on the back burner. And it's like, I think it's so important to know, like, what you can take on and then ways to implement habits and, like, reaching out, even finding a different group or, like, somebody to help you, a mentor. I think one of the biggest things that if I would have found one a little bit earlier, someone would look at my schedule and be like, hey, I don't know if you have the capacity to do everything. And my particular issue was I wanted to do so much because I wanted resume builders. I wanted a long title. And that is why, for me, like, I don't introduce people by their titles. Not saying that I don't care, but God has directed me to not focus there. To focus on the souls of individuals and to find out who they are and, like, what helped them keep going. Like, when you thought of yourself at your lowest, like, what made you not give up? Because I hadn't been there, And so, yeah, go ahead.
And then sometimes, like, when I'm at my lowest, mentorship has helped me pull me up. And I just wish that there was more mentorship in elementary school, and there was more mentorship in middle school and high school, to teach girls, and just everybody, but really to teach girls how to communicate and to put us first. And saying that to say not being a follower, right? Knowing to not engage in certain conversations and stuff where they're negative. Learning to continue pushing through depression and, just things that kids deal with in schools that we don't think that they deal with. And I think that's what helped me, find this profession because, mental health was not talked about in my home. Yes, we had to go to therapy. It was state mandated at the time for domestic situations in my home, but it was not talked about. And I think I'm going to stop there.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those conversations I heard, one time I heard State Representative John Thompson speak about how the important conversations start at the dinner table. And I came from a very, I don't even know what to call it because I don't want to throw any shade on my parents, but they were doing the best that they could, and they taught me what they could, and I'm grateful that there were other resources to teach me a little bit more. I dealt with things, and then there's so much power in unlearning things.
That part. That's literally what I'm doing right now at the age of 30, unlearning, and it's okay, and I'm not going to feel guilty because, yes, my parents did the best they could, coming from two different third world countries.
Oh, amen. I mean, and it's hard. I mean, just the amount of fight and the amount of motivation and resilience that you need to like really do something like that. Not nothing I've experienced, but I definitely have family members who have made the journey, and I'm so glad, that they were able to go through all that and then not live in places that are so progressive as Minnesota. Minnesota is very progressive, even though we talk about how far behind it is. I done lived in a lot of states, South Carolina, Louisiana, Texas a little bit, Kentucky. And if you think that we're not progressive here.
And that's why everyone keeps moving here. That's why a lot of people keep moving here. So.
Yeah, like we could complain about Minnesota all we want, but we have these wonderful programs. And then the way that you guys go out and help youth, I can say that I grew up in a small town outside of Rochester in Minnesota called Pine Island. So my graduating class was like 80 people. The school was K through 12. Okay, paint the picture. Only African American to go through my high school and stay. We had some people that would come in, but to stay and graduate from my high school within that principal's term, and he had been there for like 20 to 30 years or something like that. But I dealt with racism on a daily basis. Okay, like I'm talking like. The stuff that we see here on the inner cities has nothing to compare to seeing that there's one kid to 100 other white kids. Guarantee you're throwing the N-word around. Guarantee you are calling him out of his name. Guarantee you are saying, haha, I don't like niggers, but you're okay. They don't have the resources that Minnesota has, that Minneapolis has. Excuse me. Minneapolis, you can see another black person feel like I could be something. I grew up in a small town where I didn't think that was possible. So I get so excited and my heart gets so warm when I see other black women encouraging the youth the way that you do it, because I have a mantra that I live by, and it's always be who you needed when you were younger. And having someone come into my school that look like you, talk like you, laugh like, and it just had a bright spirit like yours that I feel like I can resonate with, like definitely would have probably opened more doors in my mind, I felt like I had a glass ceiling. The only black people in the town there were workers in servitude. So we're in the hospital, fast food industries doing it. Rochester's not even as progressive. Shout out to the Rochester NAACP. No shade, no hate. Yeah, I mean, but they know what I'm saying is real. If it falls on the ears of anyone there, they know it's just so hard. So you just do a phenomenal job of doing what you do.
Thank you.
So, yeah, and even if don't nobody notice or if don't nobody see everything that you do or if don't nobody do none of that, God know what you do.
Thank you.
And I, for lack of a better term, straight social media be stalking and wondering how do you do it all? And then you still be carrying yourself with so much grace. So I just wanted to just take a moment to give you your flowers.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And shout out to now I'm mentoring with the Doorstep Legacy Foundation with Dr. Zakia. She has given me an opportunity to mentor on my own and to build my own platform. So we mentor at Friendship Academy. Over South, it is the grades, 3 through 8th, not the elementary school. And then also mentor at Dakota County Jail, helping the girls come out with a positive exit strategy, learning good communication, positive reinforcements, and just trying to elevate them. I call them leaders all the time because, again, their situation right now does not determine their future. Yes, they are underage, but I do tell them, like, this one situation you did, you can still be the president.
I'm telling you, and you're the perfect person to let them know one mistake don't mean nothing.
Doesn't mean nothing. Because, you guys, I have been suspended every single year from first grade. Ask about me. I have been suspended every year, and it's not to say because I was fighting. It's because at the time, Brooklyn Park was not diverse. Mm-hmm. So, situations such as me not wanting to communicate with the teacher, respond back to her. Now they're sending me out. They don't want me in the office. They'll just send me home, and call it a suspension. It's, little things as that I look back on. little things my sophomore year. I didn't want to give my health teacher my purse to go to the bathroom because she said you can't use your phone. I never was using my phone. She never saw me use my phone, but again, not knowing what discrimination was. So she's following me around while I'm about to just go to the bathroom because who are you to tell me to give you my purse? She steps on the back of my shoes, and I didn't know who it was, but I was already annoyed with the situation. Turned around, made her flinch. Now I'm suspended, So it's a lot of situations. Mentorship is so important, and it needs to be in the schools more so kids can talk to other adults to tell them what they're experiencing. Because I'm thinking, at the time I didn't know how to tell my parents that. And my parents are working doubles. My parents are doing the best that they can. And then also they're adults and, sometimes they do listen to the authoritative figure even though they're lying.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said something. I don't know if you get a moment, check out the episode with Quincy because he does definitely, he just speaks on the importance of communication and not having the words at that point in time, or even being able to identify exactly what was going on. So could you imagine just being confused? I'm confused and now I'm irritated. So I don't know. And it's that lack of representation, not having someone old enough or mentorship in the schools. So I think that's a great word to take for adults out there. If this is falling on your guys' ears, and if you're taking your time for this, show up for them. There's someone who needs you. Versions of myself, I said, I could have used a mentor. So that's why it's important to me to youth have a close a space dear to my heart because at the end of the day, that's where my trauma took place. So that's where I refer to when it comes to my pivotal namaste grinding moment, and then later on in life having another one. So I know that we talked about that, but I just want to give you another moment just to put folks on to anything else that you're doing. So you said the mentorships in the 2 different locations. Where else can they find you? We got some big stuff coming up too.
Yes, so you guys can find me on Facebook under my name, Aihomon Ebojie. It is Aihomon. Last name is Ebojie. And you can also find me on Instagram. It is under naturally __flossom. Flossom is FLAWSOME. And you guys, I am competing in the first ever Minnesota Miss Juneteenth pageant, running for Miss Juneteenth 2024. You guys can check that out June 8th. It is a Saturday at Hamline University from 2 to 4 p.m.
Okay, I love that. I'm super excited for you. I just feel like your story is so... It's one that needs to be told because I've seen it. I see it happen every day in my community. The fighter, we had spoke earlier, and so I'm just going to run this story down to y'all too. So I was going to tell y'all about the crazy part about the connections, right, of Namaste Grinding. After I get off the phone with Iman and we're just talking, just chopping it up about life and where we've been and stuff like that, I literally go outside on my porch and there's a group of 20 kids outside in a circle getting ready to fight each other at the community center. And there's these 2 girls squaring up and they getting ready. And all I could think is I was like, oh my goodness, there she go. I was like, that's our future NAACP. That's our future Miss Juneteenth. That's our future, whatever. And she just doesn't know right now because she might not have the words. But I literally, because God worked like that, had just got off the phone with you. And I was like, that's just crazy because where she at right now, fighting for whatever she feels like she needs to fight for, has nothing to do with where she will be, where she will end up, the heights that she will go, and the way that she's going to be able to serve and give back to the same people. So God is awesome. God is awesome.
God is amazing. And where you were yesterday does not determine where you are going to be today.
I'm telling you, and y'all done heard it. And I thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Namaste Grinding podcast. I really appreciate y'all. Please be sure to take what you need from this conversation and apply it to your life. Y'all make sure that y'all stay focused and y'all stay fighting for all the right reasons. And y'all stay grinding, y'all. Namaste.
I'ma stay grinding. I'ma stay grinding. I'ma stay grinding. I'ma stay grinding.